Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David, having a good time in the studio with my good friend and my good pal, Mr. Al Connickson. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Al, as we get into this next topic and segment, you referenced earlier about having a plan. Having a plan, a strategic plan, I should say, in your retirement strategy. Most people don't have a plan. Most people put money into a 401k, IRA, whatever that may be, every other Friday with no plan of gain or loss. And they hope to get to that promised land of retirement, right? Now, we speak to a lot of people, and that's just not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people are struggling to get there. What are some different techniques can people do when they self-direct? Self-directing means managing it yourself.
Sure.
Now, some people are probably saying, well, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. Well, of course you don't know how. You have to learn it. In trading and investing, it's a learned skill. Let's talk a little bit more about self-directing. What are some of the things, and I guess some of the perks that people might be able to do rather than having money managed and paying a fee?
Yeah. Well, let me start out by saying there may be some people that are in a position where they just don't have the ability to set up a self-directed account. Maybe the money isn't there. All their money is in their 401k. There isn't extra money to do anything with. Well, at the very least, you want to make sure that you have a better understanding of what's in your 401k. Learn how to manage that. And we do talk about that. We talk about a dynamic 401k management where there are things you can do within your 401ks. Now, I know there's some limitations there, but there are things you can do with what you have to maybe give you boosted returns, to maybe provide protection. You don't have to stay fully invested in growth stocks or value stocks during a market crash or market correction. So those are some of the things that we can help you with. But what Josh is talking about is how to really almost kind of supercharge your retirement accounts, your retirement dollars, by setting up an account, a self-directed retirement account that is controlled by you. And I know a lot of people are at the point where they don't feel comfortable doing that. They don't have the confidence to do it. They're afraid. But when you think about it, in your employer-sponsored retirement plan, you are the person making the decisions. You're already doing that, and you're paying somebody to let you make your own decisions. Those are fees that not only take money out of what you could have, but it's money that is no longer compounding for you. In other words, every dollar that's taken away from you, not only is just $1 fewer dollars that you have, but it's a dollar that's not producing other dollars, which then produce other dollars, which produce other dollars. That's that compounding effect. So the overall cost to you for fees that people just think they have to pay and they think they're reasonable could cost you 30, 40, maybe 50% of what you could have in retirement. One of the advantages with a self-directed IRA is that you don't have fees. You eliminate those fees. Again, you already are the person making the decisions in your employer-sponsored plan. You can do the same thing in your self-directed plan. It can be a traditional IRA. For some people, it can be a Roth IRA. But you, first of all, eliminate the fees, and you have access not only to the same things you would have access to in your 401k or 403b, but you have access to the leveraged assets we talked about, futures, Forex, options. You have access to strategies that will give you the potential to benefit in a down market as well as an up market and even a sideways market. If the market happens to be flat, it never starts exactly or ends exactly at the same point that it started at, even though it might be flat for the year. There are gyrations through the year, every one of which could be an opportunity for you that you're missing out on. So that self-directed plan, number one, cuts out the fees. Number two, gives you access to assets that will allow you to participate all market directions and boost your return potential with the leveraged assets. We really didn't get into too much detail on that leverage, but what leverage does is it really takes every dollar you have and then just multiplies what you can control in an investment. And with futures and Forex, you're looking at somewhere between 20 to 1 to maybe over 100 to 1. The same thing with options. That's what the pros are doing. That's what they're doing with their money to make sure they maximize the value of it and they maximize the potential returns.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's a good understanding that the leverage is there for people that aren't where they need to be, right? Because if they don't have the capital, it's tough to buy a stock because stock is very expensive right now. I want to talk a little bit more about these other assets in retirement accounts because people don't know that you can use options in retirement accounts.
Right.
So how do you get that started? Can you go to a brokerage account and say, hey, I want to trade options? Or do you have to go to a bank and say, hey, I want to trade options in my retirement account? How does somebody get that transition started to I guess maybe roll an old 401k or maybe roll a IRA into self-directed?
Yeah, that's a good point about the 401ks. If you, for whatever reason, leave a company, that 401k money is yours to basically do what you want with. You can roll it into a self-directed IRA without a tax consequence, without any penalty. And then again, you've got the benefits I mentioned. You've eliminated fees. You have many more choices there. And remember, the education is available. That is what we do to help you know how to use those different assets in different market conditions. Almost every broker out there now will let you set up a self-directed account. You can do it online. You don't necessarily have to go into an office to do that, but just make sure that whoever you're going to work through, whatever asset you would like to trade, just make sure that they will allow you to trade those assets. And we do talk about different brokerage firms. We don't really care who you trade through, but we would like to help you identify which brokers might be the most beneficial to you based on how you plan on trading and what you plan on trading. But it's an easy thing to set up, a self-directed IRA. You can still do that even if you have a 401k. So a lot of people, and probably the best thing about a 401k is if you have an employer that will match a certain amount of your contribution. That is free money. I can't think of any better money than free money. So you want to take advantage of that. But what a lot of our students do with additional money that they might contribute to their 401ks or 403bs, and by the way, you're encouraged to do that. Put in as much as you can. But why not take that money? Maybe look at setting up a self-directed IRA. Then again, you've eliminated the fees. You have many more choices there. And with the leveraged assets, it allows you to take a small amount of money and control a much larger investment. And that's what a lot of people that just don't have large chunks of money to put into individual stock positions. Apple, for example, if you want to have a full 100-share position in Apple, that might cost you $13,000. That's one position. Well, with options, for example, you could control 100 shares of Apple stock for a fraction of that. Options can be used in up markets, down markets, sideways markets. You can use options to control a stock portfolio that you don't even own. You can use them to kind of boost the returns of an existing stock portfolio.
Yeah, and I think the fact of the matter is, Al, a lot of, I guess the public is being conditioned to do exactly what Wall Street wants. Buy mutual funds, buy and hold, keep things for the long haul. Well, learn the skills and get some education to build some consistency, gain the confidence to make better choices. And Al, it's getting close to the end of the show. And we have a lot of listeners, and we've had a lot of calls that come in on these shows that are looking for help in the financial industry, whether it's during your working years, learning the techniques with futures or Forex, or maybe you're just in retirement years or planning for retirement and just want to keep what you have. There's techniques and strategies that are available out there for the average investor to learn. A lot of people just don't have that consistent trading strategy. They don't have that investing strategy that gives them the confidence. But people still want to make better choices. That comes down with a little bit of action. People need to take action, and they need to do that today. Your words of wisdom really helps people take that action and gain the confidence to get started. Let's hear it today.
Yeah, Josh, we find that only about 5% of the people in this country are truly financially successful. But the people that succeed, they focus on the things that they can do. There's too many people out there, unfortunately, that have the feeling they probably can't do something, so they don't even try. It's too easy to come up with excuses. So this might be a good time to stop making excuses, take action, and finally realize what your real potential could be. Don't just have a dream. Believe you can achieve it, take action, and give your dreams a chance to become reality.
It's like that good old saying, if you believe you can or believe you can't, you know what? You're right. You will never be wrong with that. Follow the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out the Investing with Confidence on YouTube. Same time, same place next week, right here. Until then, retire young, my friends.